What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL Best Bets, this time for week number 12, the Sunday slate for week number 12 of the 2022 NFL season. Of course, we've already had 3 games this week for Thanksgiving Day. I hope you guys had a phenomenal, awesome, great Thanksgiving, and now it's time for another week of NFL action, and that means more best bets versus the spread here on the channel. If you guys are unaware, if you're looking for where I give you my bets, the bets that I actually put my money on, that is on Patreon. The link is in the description. It's also the pinned comment in the comment section below. So if you're looking to support me as a creator or just look at what my bets are each and every week, $3, that's where it starts on Patreon. Check it out, guys. Link in the description. Now let's get to my favorite plays versus the spread for the rest of week number 12. Gronk spiked the like button, and let's begin with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -3 versus the Cleveland Browns. Here's the thing, guys. There are a lot of people that comment on my videos that are critical of me for being biased towards the Patriots and Tom Brady. So obviously I have a soft spot for my favorite team and my favorite player. But I would never try to put you guys in jeopardy by giving you advice just because I want to pick my favorite team to win. Like, I'd rather be right. I'm not trying to be wrong here. So just understand that. I'm not just picking the Bucs or picking the Patriots because they're my favorite team or my favorite player. I'm picking them because I think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover. And a lot of the times I have a good feeling about those teams because I know those teams better than most other people. And that's just a simple fact. So you can trust me there or you can't. It's not going to win every time, but it's going to win most of the time. And I think if you go back through the rest of my best bets over the last couple of years, you would see that, right? So I just want to get that out of the way because there have been some people after Thanksgiving getting on me for picking New England. I wasn't the only person on New England on Thanksgiving, guys. So with that being said, Tampa Bay -3 versus Cleveland. They're going to Cleveland. It's in Cleveland. Why I love this for Tampa Bay. I saw a real shift in terms of the Bucs offensively and the Bucs as a team when they played that Germany game against the Seattle Seahawks. I thought they played really well offensively. I thought they ran the ball better than they've ran the ball all season long versus Seattle. I thought that really allowed them to get into where they are at their best on offense, which is these heavy formations, play action, a couple routes out there, and Brady picks his spots with Godwin, Evans, Julio, whoever it may be, goes down the field and strikes. I thought their offense was very nice. I thought the offensive line performed well. And this is not a common theme we've seen throughout the year. This almost reminds me of the team Tampa Bay had a couple years ago, where it took them some time to figure out what they were from an identity perspective, especially on offense, and it shifted after the bye. And this is now the bye week following the game where they maybe put some pieces together in Germany. I think Tampa is tiers above Cleveland as a football team. I don't think this line is reflective of that. Tampa's only 3-point favorites on the road. Not exactly in the most hostile places to play Cleveland. This is the final week for Jacoby Brissett as the quarterback of the Browns, which means the Browns probably are thinking about other things. Let's just be honest. I don't think from a mental standpoint, these players may be thinking about other things. Deshaun Watson's coming in. This is the last game for Jacoby. Maybe they're thinking they want to play hard for Jacoby. I'm not really sure. But I look at this matchup, and this is a picture-perfect matchup for Tampa Bay. Because what they want to be on offense right now is to run it, stay balanced, protect Tom, and run play action. Cleveland can't stop the run. They can't stop anyone from running the ball. They're soft up front, and they can't contain the running game. So I think Rachaad White getting the full start here with Leonard Fournette out is going to have a big day. I think that's going to open things up down the field for guys like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Julio, who's off the injury report, and he's good to go. I feel like the Bucs are going to make some explosive passing plays, dictate the pace of play through their running game, and Tom Brady's going to have a big day. I think the Bucs, particularly if you could compare it to any game, it's going to be a lot like the New England game when New England played Cleveland with their backup quarterback and punished them on the ground. That opened up big plays down the field. I think it will be very similar to that offensively. Defensively, Tampa Bay's run defense, when Akeem Hicks is on the field, is the best in the NFL. And they're taking on a Cleveland team that everything offensively stems from Nick Chubb, stems from the running game. Jacoby Brissett in this drop-back passing game of Cleveland is not very good. And I do think Tampa holds a significant advantage in that regard in this game. But if they're unable to move the ball on the ground versus the Bucs, I just don't think they're going to be able to score points. So I like the Bucs defense surging, getting healthier, coming into this game. The Bucs wanting to create a statement with this game coming off the bye. I think they do that. I think they win, and I think they win by a significant margin here on the road. So I think they win and cover the 3 points. That is your first best bet. My second best bet for week number 12 is the Atlanta Falcons +4 versus the Washington Commanders. I'm not going to lie. A couple of these bets this week, it's simply based off the number. Atlanta getting 4 points versus a team that is maybe a bit better than them, but not by much. The Commanders just feels like too many points. It just feels like we're betting on the peak of the Commanders. The Commanders have reached their peak. They beat the Eagles. They punished the Texans. And now they play an Atlanta team in a similar spot. Both teams vying for playoff position. Both teams trying to make the playoffs still. And both teams love to run the football. Both teams like to play close, kind of gritty games. And I just don't see how the Commanders consistently enough cover 4.5 points like we've seen this line at all week. I feel like this is a field goal game. Atlanta loves playing field goal games. I think Marcus Mariota gives them a challenge running the football with his legs. And I think that Arthur Smith is still being underrated as an offensive coordinator. Washington knows they've got to stop the run. I think Arthur Smith has some answers through the play action that he can suck up those linebackers and throw some balls down and in the middle of the field to guys like Drake London. I also look at the other side of the ball, and I just don't see a Commanders offense being super significantly dangerous to the point where I'm scared about Atlanta's defense in this matchup. I think Atlanta can play competitively on that side of the ball, and this game will probably end in a field goal for either side. So I'm going to take the 4 points in a game where I just feel both teams are pretty even. The third matchup is the Jacksonville Jags getting 3.5, possibly even 4 points against the Baltimore Ravens. This is a game where I just think it's a field goal game once again. Jacksonville's coming off a bye. Jacksonville is much better than their record indicates, as indicated by their point differential. And Jacksonville is a team that, again, maybe they make a mistake or two every game that keep them from winning, but they typically play close games. On top of that, they play a Baltimore team who's struggling to move the ball, struggling to score points. I think Jacksonville's defense, a lot like Carolina's, is very young, very fast, and very athletic. On top of that, this is a scheme in Jacksonville defensively that is from the Todd Bowles tree. And we've seen Todd Bowles do a good job against earlier this year for a good half until his entire defense got injured against Lamar Jackson. We saw him contain Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. We've seen this type of defense where they really take pride in stopping the run. And I feel like Jacksonville's front, their linebackers specifically, are very athletic. Their edge players are very athletic. It's hard to gain the edge versus Jacksonville's defense. Lamar is also a bit beat up. So I don't see the Ravens running all over Jacksonville through Lamar. I think it's going to take more of a conceded effort through the passing game to move the football here from the Ravens, and they simply do not have the receivers to get the job done, in my opinion, consistently enough through the passing game. So I like Jacksonville's defense to play a very nice game here to keep this one close. I am a bit worried about Jacksonville's just inability to come through clutch in some games, and they're a very inconsistent team, especially offensively with their pass protection and Trevor Lawrence. But I do feel like they have that potential to run the ball with Travis Etienne, to throw strikes down the field with Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk. And they are definitely an offense with skill, and they can move the ball on most defenses. We've seen that throughout the year. So I think Jacksonville might even win this game outright. I wouldn't be shocked. Just the way the Ravens are playing offensively, I think it's going to give the Jags plenty of opportunities to pull this one out as an underdog. So I like getting the 3 in the hook here in a game that might come down to a Justin Tucker field goal for the Ravens to pull it out. So give me the points with the Jags coming off the bye. My 4th best bet of week number 12 is the Chargers laying 2.5 versus the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is surprising to me. I said 2.5 in a little bit of a surprising fashion because it was 4.5 not long ago. And Kyler Murray, yeah, he came back to the lineup. I understand getting it to 3, but under a field goal, I feel like that's value. If you can get 2.5 with the Chargers here, I think that's value. I think the Chargers are a better team than the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are a bit of a mess inside that locker room, inside that organization. And I don't really see Kyler Murray being a significant upgrade over Colt McCoy, especially against a defense with the Chargers that, they are pretty good against these drop back passing teams and these athletic quarterbacks. We've seen them do a good job against Patrick Mahomes. We've seen them do a good job against teams that are kind of one-dimensional and don't really love to run the ball from under center and get traditional and run with a fullback. I think the Chargers are a team that thrives in these matchups where teams playing a lot of shotgun and they don't really try to test their run D. So I feel like the Chargers defensively gives me more faith they can play their style and slow down a team like the Cardinals. Yes, D-Hop's there, maybe Marquise Brown back, but no Zach Ertz, no Rondell Moore. So there are missing pieces. Greg Dortch might even be out for this team on offense. And the offensive line coach also just got fired, so there might be some issues with that offensive line. I just don't think the Cardinals run the ball well enough to dictate this game against the Chargers, and I feel like their passing game plays right into the strengths of the Chargers defensively. Offensively, I think we saw a very replicatable game plan by the Niners last week that the Chargers can take and do just that. That is that short passing, crisp 5, 8, 7 yards here and there type of short intermediate passing game that Justin Herbert thrives in this year. Keenan Allen's back. That's his guy from like 5 to 10 yards. He's going to eat. DeAndre Carter, Josh Palmer. I'm not even worried about not having Mike Williams in this matchup against a defense that might be without their best corner, that doesn't have a great pass rush. I feel like the Chargers can find some success in those short to intermediate passes, spread the Cardinals out, go for long drives, go for 6 consistently, and Herbert under a field goal. I like the Chargers to win this game. I think they're really in need of this game to stay within that playoff hunt in the AFC against teams like the Jets, the Patriots, and the Bengals. So I think that they win this game, and I think that they cover this game. 2.5, I think, is just a lot of value there. My 5th best bet for week number 12 is the Seattle Seahawks. At home, -4 coming off the bye. I felt like Tampa Bay was a really good matchup for Seattle. I felt like Tampa Bay, the way that they stop the run, the way that they can force you to be one-dimensional, and then Tom Brady just being so smart and so savvy, I think threw a young Seahawks defense through a loop. That was also, a game that's not in Seattle, not with the 12th man. And I love Seattle in Seattle. I've been there multiple times. I know that fan base is rowdy. I know how hostile it can get. And I feel like the Raiders as a team coming off a pretty emotional, significant win against Denver, even though they're not a very good team and they're not going anywhere, that was a big deal for them. And I don't think they're going to play with the same energy, same passion this week. I think Seattle is going to come off the bye a little bit more motivated after getting kind of embarrassed by the Bucs through at least 3/4 of that game. I think Pete Carroll was embarrassed by their performance. I think he has their defense playing better here, faster against the run. I think they do a good job of corralling Josh Jacobs with the speed that they've got up front. And then I feel like with only Devontae Adams as that real threat, Seattle throws some blitzes at Derek Carr, makes him a bit uncomfortable at times. On the flip side, I think it's going to be really hard for the Raiders to slow down the Seahawks. They give up a lot of significant explosive runs that Kenneth Walker can go for 6 anytime he's in open space. And then you've got potentially the Raiders trying to sell out for the run, which leaves DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with one-on-ones down the field that Geno Smith will not miss. Geno's been really good. I think this offense gets back on track this week with more balance, and I think the defense with the home crowd thrives. So I like Seattle to win this game and to cover 4. I think they win by about a touchdown, maybe even 2 scores. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Seattle wins, and I think they keep their playoff hopes alive. My 6th bonus bet, it's not a 100% play because I feel like I would play this if Jamar Chase doesn't play. If Jamar Chase plays, I feel like this is a toss-up and I maybe stay away from it, but I still don't hate taking the Titans on the money line or grabbing 2.5 points. If this were 3 points, I'd be all over it because I think this is very much going to be a field goal game. Tennessee is at home getting points as a dog. You love that with Mike Vrabel. He's the best underdog in the NFL, and that's when you bet on him, especially at home. But the Bengals, I do feel like they can create some explosive plays in the passing game. Here's the thing. Tennessee is getting some players back. Amani Hooker's coming back. Their nickel corner Elijah Molden's coming back. Christian Fulton should be playing. Bud Dupree should be playing. Now, Danico Autry won't be, which hurts, but they should have most of their secondary back intact. I think that helps significantly against the Bengals. And I do feel Mike Vrabel can create some pressure and stunts up front that kind of get after Joe Burrow. I also love how Ryan Tannehill played last week against Green Bay, and I love how he may be able to play against Cincinnati, a defense that I didn't think looked very good against Pittsburgh last week. Derrick Henry's definitely going to test them on the ground, and they're going to have some balance through the play action that they offer. Todd Downing having some off-the-field issues does scare me a little bit, but I just like Tennessee in this matchup. I thought it was a bit fluky that the Bengals beat them last year. I think they might get revenge in this spot at home, the scene of the crime, once again. So I have this as a bonus pick. I'm leaning towards betting it, but I'm not like 100%. So it's up for you to decide. I like Tennessee getting players back. I like the revenge factor. I like Vrabel as a dog. All those things I love, but I'm not exactly 100% sure if I want to fade the Bengals offense the way they're playing with potentially Jamar Chase back. Those are my best bets for week number 12. Let me know in the comment section below your picks for week 12 and your favorite bet for week 12. Don't forget to check out Patreon for my bets every single week, guys. Thanks for watching. It's Mitch. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.